The Central Bank of Nigeria has raised its key interest rate to a record high in a decisive move to curb persistent inflation and strengthen the naira. Our correspondent Nkechi Nana attended the Monetary Policy Committee press briefing and has the full report.
To hold or to raise? This critical question loomed over the Central Bank of Nigeria's third Monetary Policy Committee meeting of 2024. After 2 days of rigorous deliberations, the MPC made its decisions.
The committee's decisions are as follows. 1. Raise the MPR by 150 basis points to 26.25% from 24.75%. 2. Retain the asymmetric corridor around the MPR to plus 100 to minus 300 basis points. 3. Retain the cash reserve ratio of deposit money banks at 45%. And 4, retain the liquidity ratio at 30%.
The committee weighed several factors when deciding whether to further tighten policy or hold to observe the impact of previous rate hikes.
The key focus of the MPC at this meeting remained to achieve price stability by effectively using tools available to the monetary authority to rein in inflation. Further observed the recent volatility in the foreign exchange market, attributing this to seasonal demand, a reflection of the interplay between demand and supply in a freely functioning market system. The committee also noted the marginal increase in the external reserve balance between March and April 2024 and urged the bank to sustain its focus on accretion to reserves. An extensive review of risks and the near-term inflation outlook, the balance of risk suggests further tightening of policy to build on the benefits accruing from previous rate hikes.
This marks the 295th meeting of the MPC and the third under Governor Olayemi Cardoso, who took office in September 2023. Governor Cardoso also outlined the committee's broader economic strategy, emphasizing the bank's stance on key issues shaping Nigeria's economy.
And I can say from every indication, we have, from the feedback we've been getting, and I must say that we've had a considerable amount of dialogue with foreign investors, certainly from the time I came to the bank, and this is something that has been consistent. So we have a pretty good feel of what the requirements are and what they look for. We have attempted as much as possible to make the market a lot more transparent. And transparency in our dealings, which of course foreign portfolio investors want to see, and which gives them the added confidence. And we have seen that they have responded very positively to the transparency initiatives, and that has given a considerable amount of confidence to them.
With the nation's attention firmly fixed on Nigeria's apex bank, there is hope that this rigorous approach to tackling the inflation crisis and bolstering the naira will continue with further policy measures. The next MPC meeting will be slated for 22nd and 23rd of July 2024. Nkechi Nana, Arise News.
Well, joining us now is economist and investment specialist, Dr. Vincent Nwani. Good to see you, and thanks for your time. Let's break these down. Looking at what this is about, raising the interest rate to 26.25% and a few other commentaries there from the CBN governor. what does this mean for our economy?
All right, thank you for having me. We've listened to the CBN, the outcome of the third MPC meeting this year. This decision means a lot of things to the Nigerian economy and the players in the real sector of this economy, to the extent that the MPR have been increased for 3 consecutive times since January. 2%, 4%, and now 1.5%. That is about 7.5%. And at this rate, by December, MPC would have added like 18%. At this rate, bringing the MPR to a figure around 37, 38% at the end of the year. For whatever reason it was, how much inflation passed through, or how much interest rate passed through is driving our inflation? That is one question we need to ask ourselves. Is this the money supply, that players in the economy are getting from the banking system that is fueling inflation? I'm sure that the answer is largely no. I'm not sure if consistent increase in the MPR, at this rate, like I said, we'll be looking at 38%, but at the end of the year, I think we're doing over 26% now. Is it the solution to inflation? At what point do we consider other measures? Because again, we also don't want to see stakeholders in the economy become a bit wary of the instrument of the monetary policy, where the monetary policy become a tool that is not able to actually achieve what it is said to achieve, that is stabilizing the rates, whether it is inflation, whether it is interest rate or the FX rate, as the case will be. And to the extent that some of these, or most of these products or goods out there, especially food, grown by Nigerians, produced by Nigerians, are also even more expensive, or as expensive as what the imported product. What is the challenge? You find out the challenge is structural, the challenge is inherent, and it is always difficult to solve a serious illness with maybe Panadol,
Right.
We need
Nwani,
surgical operation.
If I can come in very quickly. You've raised quite a number of salient questions or points, if you like. The question as to what exactly is fueling inflation. What are the other options that the MPC can come up with beyond this tightening and tightening and tightening? Apparently, from all indication, based on what you're saying, the tightening hasn't checked inflation.
Yes, exactly. And one of the things we begin to look at is the inflation number. It looks like what we're seeing is grossly conservative, because some of the interventions since January, the CBN, they've done quite well. About 20 circulars, they've implemented to see how to stabilize the rates. And I want to give you an example, what they did on FX rates. I think in March/April, where we see some serious moderation. At some point, the Naira became the best performing currency in the world, and, before the renewed upticks we've seen. We saw CBN took some steps, and that step were complemented by the activities of the executive or the fiscal arm of the government, and even the security, BDC was, refined a lot of... so the CBN policies will not on its own deliver the goal or the result we need, to start with. So, like I said, I don't believe that raising this rate even to 50% will solve inflation problem. What are the structural issues? The food basket is, again, the biggest spark in the inflation driver. How come that the product we produce in Nigeria, the farm produce, the cassava, the pineapple, the orange, are as expensive, 200%, 300% more. The bottled water that used to be 100 naira is now 200 naira in the street, depending on where you are buying it from. So like I said, the inflation number we're seeing may be conservative, and by the time you are using conservative numbers, whatever solution you are applying may not give the result you want to see. That's one. Something have to be looked at to see what we're looking at in the inflation number. Two, we also want to see a situation where the real problems, the complementarity between the fiscal authority and other authorities in the country have to play. Food is a major crisis. Just like the central bank said, infrastructure issues, insecurity issues, even when the food are produced, you see that moving it to the market is a big challenge. When it is going into the market, a lot of, not just infrastructure, the human being, the market forces, the area boys, the charges, all of those things fuel this inflation. So I think people will normally call it to declare state of emergency in the Nigerian palace, but I think that a more coordinated effort around national emergency on food security need to be activated at this time. We've seen some local governments that cannot even farm. They are not farming in 2024. Go to Ika in Delta State, and for example, this is an agrarian society or communities, about 26 of them. They are not in farm this year because of incidents of insecurity in the farmland. What is being done, which means that during the harvest time, maybe in September, August, September, we're even going to see more pressure on inflation. So what are we doing around that?
Well, I think
state governors, the state ministries of agriculture.
Dr. Nwani, I think you've just raised a whole lot of points here, especially locally produced goods, services, and even farm produce. We must tell ourselves the truth. Why are they going on the high on a daily basis? And the Ika example is something we really need to expatiate. We want to thank you for your patience and for your time. We do hope that we'll have this conversation in the days to come to really make sense of what this is about. Dr. Vincent Nwani, thank you for coming on Newsnight. The program continues. In the interim, you can visit our website, arise.tv. Stay with us.